What is up, YouTube? The Zelda Duelist is back, baby, with a deck list I've been hinting at for the longest time. My own Branded Despia list. First note, this deck is nowhere near finished. I am missing a lot of key combo cards for it, and I'm missing a lot of cards I wish I had. For example, more Aluba. There's cards in here I'm definitely planning on cutting, if you guys couldn't tell. But I'll mention them as I go along. Before we start on with the video, I'd like to say this. The deck, when I upgraded the deck over before my regional qualifier, which we'll go into with this list. Not saying where, so you don't prepare for it. Before I get to it, before I go there, I will upgrade it, obviously, and then I'll go to this again. Now, for every one of you here to know, I did not obtain all these cards by myself. I obtained a lot of them with the help of my friends, such as you and I've mentioned him a lot, or Alex, which was in a video of mine in the past. You guys, not that you guys didn't watch, but yeah, sorry about this. The camera just right. There we go. You and Alex, they've helped me, and I thank them. If you're watching this, thank you a lot. My brother helped me with this, because he was originally playing Branded and lent me the stuff, like the original bits to get me going, so I thank him as well. And to all of you watching, I wish you all a Merry Christmas, because at this point, and Happy New Year, because at this point, you've all made my year. Thank you for watching this. If you have any bits you would like to recommend me play in this list, tell me. We'll be covering my main deck, extra deck, and side deck. So yeah, thank you all so much for being here. That's the growth of my channel. We're up to 14 subscribers, and I thank you all dearly. And I wish you all Merry Christmas. Let's get on with this list. Babbled on not long enough. Starting up the main deck, the Albaz stuff. I played 2 copies of Fallen of Albaz. Now I know a lot of people play more. I think I've seen a deck profile recently. I was playing 3, and I get why it's useful, especially you get Alba. But I personally run 2 because I don't want to see it in my hand per se, but I also don't want cases where Albaz is nowhere to be found and I don't have Branded Fusion. So it's like 2. Like if I need it for the super poly effect, and I can get it that board, I can use it. And it's in hand, I've got a chance to draw it. If not, it's in deck when I need it for Branded Fusion. I play a card, mostly play like 1 or 2 copies of, but I play it at 3. But I don't have enough Aluba. I think it's more helpful than stuff like Keeper of Dragon Magic in Triple Springen's kit. Kit is interesting because a lot of players don't play it at all. I think it's useful. You can search for any branded spell trap alongside, put a card to the bottom of deck. So if you've bricked and you've drawn, I don't know, like, say, actually a brick card in this deck. Well, let's say you've got a card in your hand you don't want to have, for example, Ra's Disciple. You want that in deck for a light target. Well, you can just put it to bottom with Springen's kits. It's just, or especially if you have a fusion monster that mentions Albaz in your hand, field or grave. It's really handy. I play 1 Tri-Brigade Mercuria as a combo starter, and as a hand trap line in case I'm up against something like Fuanderies, Telement, basics. And final one off the Albaz line, I play 1 Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. I sold it usually plays for the upstart, however, I have had occasions where I've needed it engraved to classify as Fallen of Albaz. And that's it for the Albaz line. Very handy. And I'll tell you now, the main target we have for Albion, Shrouded Dragon, is Branded Retribution, Branded High Spirits, which I'm planning on cutting, and Branded Opening. Next up for the Despia line, unfortunately, I only have 3 Despia monsters. And we have the Aluba, so I have one. I've got 1 of them. And obviously Aluba is the heart and soul of the Despias at this point, because you normal summon or special summon him with stuff like Branded Opening, search Branded Spell Trap. They remove a fusion monster, you summon him straight back and negate a monster effect. Very handy. I play one ad libitum, and if I don't pull Branded Despia, not Branded Despia, Branded and Rares, you can tell I'm not ready for. I was prepared for this. I pull Branded and Red over the Christmas. I will just cut it entirely because I don't find it helpful enough. They have a draw in. I don't see its purpose for now. And my favourite Despia is the last one, Dramaturge of Despia. Yes, I did just say ad libitum wasn't helpful, but Dramaturge, on the other hand, it's used for OTKs, it's used for recycling fusion materials. Hell, I've used it before now with something like Lubellion, Albion, to summon up either Masquerade, Dracos Repelia. Very handy. And that's it for the Despia line. For the generic cards that are neither are not hand traps nor Despia, we have 3 monsters. I played 2 Keeper of Dragon Magic. I personally don't like this card. It's just my personal opinion. It's not my favourite card in the world, yet it's also not, well, bad. It's good in the aspect I can use it to search Branded Fusion, but it's bad in the aspect that you're discarding a card for it. And this list, I sort of need as many cards as I have, but I run it as a backup plan. The final one we play, I mentioned him earlier, Ra's Disciple. But Zelda's Duelist. But Zelda, why are you playing Ra's Disciple? You're playing Rain Dragon of Ra, Slife Sky Dragon, or Obelisk the Tormentor. Simple. There's a trap card in this list where you can give it to your opponent and you lock them out, special something. A lot of players use with Ida, I think it is, to stop them from summoning altogether. But yeah, that's not how I rock and roll because I don't have one. I mean, I don't get as many monsters on board, and I'm usually sacrificing something like Mirror Jade for it. So I say Ra's Disciple is more handier for it. Then the hand traps. Now, I play 1 Ash. I want more. I would love more Ash, but for now I've got 1. I think it's also useful for stuff like Cross-Out Designator. I do play 1 of them. Hopefully we'll get more. I play 3 copies of Effect Veiler. I love Effect Veiler. Great card. And in my opinion, I wish it was a tad better in the fact that you couldn't negate it. That's pretty much it. But Veiler is very handy, and if I have to use it as a light target, because I've already used Ra's Disciple, it's there. And the last one, I want to cut this. It's Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Normally, I'd say keep the Ghost Ogre. The Ghost Ogre's handy. However, the big thing with it is that we're in a tier 0 format with Tearlament as the main bit, which activates when you send Graveyard. What does Ghost Ogre do? Well, it sends to Graveyard. Not very handy, but I run it for now. I don't have any other better hand traps. Again, I want stuff like DD Crowfist lists or Ash Blossom. But for now, this is what we're running. Now we're on to the spells. I play, of course, 3 copies of Branded Fusion. What does this card not do? Synchro Summon, Xyz Summon, etc. But for this deck, what does it not do? Well, it gets you Mirror Jade, Dracos Repelia in certain matchups, Masquerade in certain matchups. Masquerade is an evil card for some decks, like Fluunderies. Or any deck that loves activating effects in most decks. It gets you stuff engraved that you might want, for example, Ra's Disciple. It can help you summon out majority. It can help you summon majority of your extra deck, one way or another. And overall, it's just very handy to have. For the next branded one, I played 2 branded opening. Now, I'd love to play more of this card. It's very handy. But for now, we're going to play 2 of it. If I wanted to play more, if I do want to play more, and if I would, I could. But for now, we play 2. Very handy with the protection it gives to your fusion monsters, alongside being able to search stuff like and special from deck, Albion, Dramaturge, the main ones we currently go for. However, I have used it for ad libitum in the very odd scenarios. And the final Despia ones, I play 1 Despia in the branded. I love this card. It's surprisingly good. And I've been told I'll cut it for Branded and Red, but I probably play Branded and Red alongside it for the fact of how good this card is. You can fusion summon. You basically use polymerization with stuff with it. Alongside it, you remove a fusion monster. You can crack back by having out another level 8 fusion monster or lower fusion monster from your graveyard. That's surprisingly good. If they remove Mirror Jade and then they go attack over Aluber, okay, I bring back my Mirror Jade. You then have Mirror Jade again, because I'm pretty sure Mirror Jade is not a hard once per turn. Yeah, it's a soft once per turn, meaning you can Mirror Jade as much as you want if you can bring it back. And final ones, and then we also have Branded and Lost to prevent the negation. However, Ash still would negate Branded and Fusion, which is stupid, but hey, to live with. And one Branded and High Spirits. This is the card I want to cut, right here, for Branded and Red. It's not good, not in the slightest. However, you can definitely make your uses of it in scenarios where you need to have cards in hand, discard, and you keep sending Fusion monsters to grave, or you need an AoE on target, and they're the main ones, and that's it. The branded spells. Don't worry, we still have more spells. I play 2 Allure of Darkness, draw 2 in Yu-Gi-Oh! Incredible, and the majority of my monsters I play are dark, with 1 fire and I believe 5 lights out of 18 monsters. That's really good. And that then means you get more draw power, so you can have more combo pieces to be able to break boards more effectively. I do want the third one. Again, don't have it yet. But generally, this is an amazing card. We play 1 gold Sarcophagus, because it's effectively a rotor in this list with Mercuria. And I love that. Although it's currently been glued to all my openings, which isn't funny, but I like it. It's fine. We play 1 Mask Change 2, because I fear elements, and it's really funny when you normal summon Aluber at the effect, Chainlink 2 Havness, Chainlink 3 Mask Change 2. And then they're stuck banishing their deck, and I now have a such. Very handy, very out to the meta. 1 Cool by the Grave, of course. I fear Ash Blossom, I fear Veiler. Fortunately, does not stop Impum. And it's also just handy, in fact, if you mill like a Tillerman card they're activating, you can just activate Cool By. Such a good card. Should be banned, but we're not going to have it banned now. It can harm me. Next, we play 1 Crossout Designator. I want to play more personally. I find it's a really useful card to have in my arsenal. In the Branded Mirror match, in general, they play a hand traps I play, cards I play. They can just crack back and stop them. Very handy. Now, I want to cut this card here. Book of Moon. It's good. Don't get me wrong, Book of Moon has never been bad. Stop Synchro Summoning, Z Summoning, Link Summoning. However, and it makes my monster, if I Book of Moon my own card, it can make it immune to stuff like Veiler, Impum. However, it doesn't stop it having its downside in the fact it's a Saki one-of, and I don't like it in this list. Probably cut Book of Moon for another cross-out designator, or the other Allure of Darkness, and that's pretty much it for the spells now. Now we get to trap cards, and yes, I play a couple traps. I view these traps to be pretty... 2 of them are essential, the rest I'm planning on cutting eventually, but some more than others. Starting off, we have 1 Branded Expulsion. Now, this has multiple uses. You could use it to use Fall of Albaz on your opponent's turn to Super Poly, but again, you want to get actual Super Poly for this. But this still works. Alongside the fact you can give them Ra's Disciples, so they cannot special summon anymore. Very, very handy. And 1 Branded Retribution. Now, in the comments, other than Flew Underreads and Stun, name me 1 deck that does not activate a card that will let them special summon. I will waiting for this, because this is just outstanding. Stops any effect that would special summon, for example, Branded Fusion, a lot of the Tillerman effects, or for either A, returning to your extra like, a fusion monster on your, I mentioned full damage on your field, or 2 in your graveyard, or whoop-de-doo, I probably use Mirror Jade a couple times, or better yet, I've used Albion for like, on Nubellion for a Branded Expulsion, or Despia for Branded for another fusion summon with them. And look at that, I just recycle back my extra deck, and I now have another, more ways to combo further. It's very handy, I love the card. Or when engraved, you can recycle back a Branded Spell Trap, for example, Branded Fusion. So, it's very nice to have. It's great out of the on target as well. Next up for the final traps, we play 2 Dimensional Barrier to stop anything that plays Fusion Xyz Synchro, or Pendulum. And trust me, it's so funny when you just call Pendulum. It's hilarious. 2 Dark Bribe. I want Solemn Judgment for this list, of course. But Dark Bribe will have to do. Very good. Played in Stun. However, it's hard countered by stuff like Pot Prosperity. Because they stopped you from drawing, I mean, I cannot Dark Bribe them. And the final one, I play 1 Floodgate and Tikaboo. Now, I know for a fact some people will be confused when I'm playing Tikaboo. Because isn't Mirror Jade the dragon? If you have that up, you can't go into Mirror Jade from Dracostepelia, not Dracostepelia, Lubellion and Albion. No, actually, it's a Wyram. Even if it's called the Ice Blade Dragon. Meaning you can go Tikaboo and then into Mirror Jade. I don't know why, but I will happily take that. And that's for traps. Again, if you have any recommendations for cards to play, stuff like Despia Treasury is obvious. But if you have anything, do tell me. The extra deck now, we play 3 Albion. Albion is an amazing card. It's how we get Rust Apple to Grave. And I personally prefer Albion to most others because you don't have to discard for cost. However, I will definitely cut it down to 2 at some point. We play 3 Lubellion, sorry. Again, same as Albion, it lets you into further fusion plays and it's very handy. And I play 3 Mirror Jade to fill space. Apart from that, I can use Mirror Jades, cost Mirror Jades, certain matchups and Despia, and you know, remove Theory, or there's Mirror Jade back, or another scenario like that. It's very handy. For next, we play 2 Masquerade, the Blazing Dragon. Taxes, what can I say? Oh, you want to have it effect? Paid life points. Oh, I have 2 up. That's 1,200 life points per effect. Trust me, in some decks, like Blue Underease, or Hero, or any deck for that matter, this is a right cost. And it's so useful. I play 1 Dracostepelia. Now, I do want to get maybe 1 more of this card, potentially. But now 1 is enough. Goes a good counter to Tillman, who use fusions a lot. It's good counter to Branded. If I summon it out against Blue Underease, I can stop them from doing their effects. It's really just handy. Next, and the final one, and the next one is Master Hero Darklaw. Darklaw, we play Master Range 2 for, naturally. And it's a great counter to the best deck of the format in Tillament. However, it's also a case of I need to draw the Master Range 2, which I may not do. But I do love Darklaw, and I'm glad that I could implement Hero in this list. The final 2 extra cards, I'm definitely planning on cutting at some point. And I think I will give them their own little space for now. The final 2 we play is Titanic Lad, the Ash Dragon. Again, it's a nice cardinal for beating your opponent in the head, but I don't play any Dogmaticas. And I don't see a point in playing Dogmatica. So it definitely be cut. And Breakground the Glory Dragon, which I've had more success with than Titanic Lad. For the fact I can search for Mercuria, which then leads to further combo plays. And that's it for fusions. No, extra deck. And finally, the side deck. This is one I know I will get a lot of confusion on, and I will explain my choices here. Starting off, we have Electromagnetic Turtle. You know, as you do. I play the 1 Electromag because it's a replacement like target for Albion. If against something like Through the Reach, where the special just doesn't matter, and I can help save myself from battle eventually. So it's a good last resort card. I hope that didn't blow up. I don't message telling me only 10% left on my phone from this. And final monsters I play are 2 Kaijus that you get from the Allied Strike Structure deck. I do not have any other Kaijus, or I'd play them, or Lava Golem. But it is what it is. And if I'm honest, I will quite happily keep these in as they are. Very handy against stuff like, a great example is deck that put up a lot of negates. You can go, here's a Kaiju, here's a Kaiju, get rid of the Kaiju, here's another Kaiju. Very handy. Now we move on to spells for my side deck. And now these are the power play ones. 2 Dark Thrill No More. I am looking for a 3rd. It's just a great card. It literally, you can negate all your opponent's monster effects in their field currently. They cannot respond to monster effects. What's not to love? 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. Yes, it's a Saki one-off, and I do not have Lightning Storm. But personally, I view Harpy's Feather Duster as better. Because, oh look, Eldritch. Hello, goodbye. And then for the rest of the back removal I play 1 Cosmic Cyclone and 2 MST. preferably it'd be like 3 Cosmic Cyclone or just Lightning Storm. Do not have Lightning Storm, and I only have 1 Cosmic. And MST is still good, don't get me wrong. It's been played for years in decks because it's how good it is. And for board breaking spells, you have 1 Raigeki, because Raigeki is amazing. 1 Dark Hole. Now, Dark Hole is interesting because it destroys all my monsters as well. And normally you're like, oh no, that's not good in your deck. Sprites often use Nightmare Ibli to Ibli lock the opponent. I may get in a mirror match, they Rod Cycle me, and it'd be very handy to have that as an option. Okay, the final 2 spells are debatable, in a lot of people's opinion, why I'm playing them. I have an Exchange and Defusion. Hear me out. Exchange, you can steal your opponent's combo pieces. For example, I'm against Mirror Match, I can give them something like Tikaboo, and I'll steal their Branded Fusion. Against Telement, I see a good card, I will steal that, and they can have, I don't know, Branded Retribution, for example. It's very handy. And Defusion, or Telement's Fusion, I can get rid of the Fusion monster. Or against Branded, I can get rid of like Mirror Jade, and I can bring back my Albaz to then Super Poly, as an example. It's very handy. Or funnier for me, I'm against, let's say, Sky Striker, and they summon that DPE. Well, the DPE activates effect. You can just chain Defusion, sending back the DPE, and they've just got a dead extra deck card, and every Fusion Destiny for the rest of that game is dead. Very handy. I'm going to play 2 traps. Again, debatable with these 2. Play 1 Final Fusion and 1 Scrap Iron Statue. Scrap Iron Statue is my, other than MST and Cosmic Cyclone, is my out to Runic. And it's not an amazing out by any means. However, I do love Scrap Iron Statue, for it stops stuff like anything face up on field. So, oh no! Runic Fountain. No. Oh no. What's going on? Branded Lost. No. Oh no, that Telement Continuous Trap I don't remember the name of. No. Final Fusion is the funny one for me. Let's say I'm in a mirror match or I'm against another fusion-based deck and it's a tough game. It's like 1-1 or something. And we're running out of time left. Well, this is my funny card to keep going on with ties so it doesn't get counted as a loss. It's cheap, and I'll probably get told off for doing it. But I will cut it if I find something better to cut. And that is it for my side deck. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, give this a like. Give me any suggestions in the comments. I think I've said that like 5 times now. And yeah, Merry Christmas to every single person watching. If you celebrate it, and if not, wish you a good happy holidays. Till the next time, cheerio.